When you really show the universe who you are, when you allow your energy to be authentic and real, the universe shows you, hey, this is what you really are, this is what you really want, so I'm going to send that back to you because this is what you really want. Allow people to think whatever they want to think about you without you trying to prove them wrong. Because you feel like you are not big enough to wear your own body. You are not big enough to fill your own shoes. That's what insecure feels like. If you put on a pair of shoes that's way too big for you, your foot is not secure in that shoe. Insecurity is not feeling bad about yourself. Insecurity is not knowing yourself. Insecurity is having no sense of self. As you are going down your own path, right? Because life is a journey. It's not a race. It is not a competition. We are not competing with each other. You are doing your thing. I'm doing my thing. We're all here to benefit the earth. If we were not here for the greater good of the earth, we would not be here, correct? And so one thing we can all agree on is that other people like to tell other people what to do with themselves. There are so many people that say, you have to live this way, you have to do this. But no one's perception, I should say, or no one's ideologies or belief on how the next person should live their life will ever make sense, because there is no right way to live your life. There is no right way for a few human beings to live their life, because each and every person is on their own unique journey. Each one of us is very unique. So if I were to tell you what's right for you, how you should live your life, that would not make sense to you because you're doing your own thing. What's right for me is not right for you. So what I'm trying to say with all that is you must be grounded within yourself. You must be secure and stable within yourself. No one's perception of you, no one's perception of the way you live your life should not matter, because they are on the outside looking in. They are not you. They are not within you. They cannot be you. They cannot shake you. They should not be able to shake you. We must ground ourselves within our being. If someone's perception or opinion of you causes you to feel insecure or unstable, and you're like kind of like a loose leaf just being swayed in the wind, whichever way the wind is blowing, if somebody says, I don't know, something negative, and you go that way and you start to believe it, and then the next person comes around, let's say somebody says you look a mess, and then you be like, oh dang, I really look a mess, and then the next person comes around, you look beautiful, and then you're like, oh really, I guess I look beautiful. And you're like, you're the way you perceive yourself, when you base the way you perceive yourself on how other people perceive you, you are unstable and you are insecure. That's what insecurity is. Insecurity is not feeling bad about yourself. Insecurity is not knowing yourself. Insecurity is having no sense of self. And I actually wanted to elaborate on that a little bit more. It's more than just not knowing yourself, but it's not being secure in who you are. It's not having a stable foundation. It's not having a firm belief in who you really are, and so you're insecure when it comes to the self. When you do not know who you are, when you are unsure of who you are or why you are or what you are, anybody's opinion is able to sway you. Anybody's opinion is able to tear you down, because you have no idea what you're even doing here. You have no idea who you even are. If somebody tells you you're worthless, you're never going to be anything, those insecurities rise because you feel like, dang, I kind of don't feel like I have a purpose. And never tell somebody that they're worthless. Never tell somebody that they're not going to be anything, because that's just horrible. When you are not secure, when you are not deeply rooted, because the only person's perception of you that will ever matter in this life is not your mom's, not your dad's, not your child's, not your best friend's. It's going to be yours. You are as you are. As long as you allow yourself to be fully you embrace the parts of you that you sometimes don't allow others to see. The way I see it is, instead of picking and choosing, oh, I'm gonna act this way around somebody, and then I'm gonna act like, you know how people say they have different personalities for different people? In so many words, that's the ego. That's them saying, I allow certain parts of myself to be seen by these people because I'm scared of their judgment and me being my full self. You cannot allow that to happen. You cannot allow someone's possible perception, let's say that's the case, right, and they haven't even seen the real you, you cannot allow someone's possible perception to block you from expressing your full light, because at the end of the day, we communicate with the universe through our energy. So it doesn't matter who we're talking to. Please excuse my cat bumping against the table, but it doesn't matter who we're talking to. When we are having an exchange with somebody, we are all individual pieces of God having an experience. And so when we are not allowing ourselves to be fully seen, we block our energy from being fully seen in the ether, in the etheric realm. And that's why solitude is so important. Taking time to just be with yourself, no screens, no none of that. Just being with yourself and just observing yourself is so important, because then you develop a sense of self. You develop who you really are. Who are you when nobody is around to perceive you? Who are you when there is nobody around to cast judgment upon you? Who are you when there is nobody around telling you how you should do something, or how you should feel about yourself, or how you should live your life? That is who you are. Who are you, flaws and all? Embrace every single part of you. Literally every single part of you. There is no part of you that is imperfect. You are as you are, and who you are is light. You are whole, meaning all parts of you, even the parts that you cast into the shadow, all parts of you are you. So when people say they feel like a part of them is missing, they need to delve within that darkness. They need to venture within that shadow self and shine their light upon it, because our shadow self still exists. This how the light is casting a shadow here on my shoulder. The darkness here does not mean my shoulder does not exist. It's still here. Like, just because it has a shadow towards it does not mean it's not here. All I have to do is shine the light on it, and boom, here it is. Like, we cannot be swayed. We shall not be swayed. It's important that we take the time to develop a sense of self and become so secure within ourselves that nobody else's perception or opinion of us can shake us at all. It's like a tree and the wind blowing. It's like the only thing that's getting blown around is our hair. You know what I mean? Like, somebody's trying to come in like a tornado and mess up what you've got going on. The only thing that will ever be blowing around is your hair. You get what I mean? Just like how the leaves blow on trees. The trunk of the tree does not move because of the wind. It is stable and it is secure. It knows that nothing outside of it can shake it. You understand? The way you become secure in yourself is to accept yourself. When you realize that there is no changing you, no matter how hard you try, when you realize that when you try to change yourself because you don't like yourself, that's not going to stick. I've said that before. When you try to build new habits simply because you do not like the way you've been living, those habits will not stick, because the intentions are not pure. You got to move with pure intentions. If you are moving with ill intentions, the things will not stick. You will not see it manifest in the best light. If anything, you cannot try to start loving yourself because you hate yourself, if that makes any sense. If you're looking at yourself and you're saying, I don't like the way my body looks, so I'm gonna work out because I don't like my body, that does not make any sense, because working out is beneficial to the body. And so what you're doing is sending mixed signals to the subconscious mind saying, I don't like my body, but I'm doing something that benefits my body. But if I don't like my body, why am I doing something that benefits my body? And then eventually you just drop working out because you do not like your body. Eventually you side with your logical self. The logical mind says, why am I benefiting this part of me if I don't like it? I wouldn't want to benefit something I don't like. I wouldn't want to help somebody I don't like, if that makes any sense. So when you decide to say, I'm gonna work out because I need to look after my health, I'm working out because I love my body, I'm working out because I want to get to know my body, I'm working out for the right reasons, then that habit will stick more. And that was just an example. But like I was saying with all that, you become secure in yourself when you finally realize that the only person whose opinion matters is yours. If somebody is, if you feel like, and that's another thing. A lot of the time, people don't even be judging us, but we place the judgments we have on ourselves into other people's mind. It's like we say, it's like we be like, oh, they're gonna judge me for, whatever the case may be. Let's say they're gonna judge you for your personality, right? and you take that judgment. Nobody even was thinking that, but you take that judgment and you place it into their minds, even though they're not thinking that. And then so you create this false self. You create a facade. You put on a mask and hide who you really are. And all that does is drain your energy, because you are suppressing who you really are. If you want to be accepted by other people, you have to accept yourself. If you want to be unshaken by someone else's opinion of you, and that's okay, I'm gonna get into that, hold on. If you want to be unshaken by someone's opinion, if you want to be unshaken, by someone's opinion of you, you must not be shaken by any judgments that you have on yourself. You are meant to notice the things that you say about yourself, whether they be positive or negative. You are meant to notice how you perceive yourself, and that's all that matters. When you look at yourself and you realize, I'm judging myself, I perceive myself in a negative light, only you can fix that. Only you can heal that. But you must look at it and figure out why you are perceiving yourself to be that way. You must follow that back to its root. Go back in time. That's how I like to see it, is take a trip down memory lane, kind of reflect and go back to the point in time that first inspired you to think that way about yourself. And the more and more we transform our negative perceptions and our negative view on ourselves that we have on ourselves, the more healing we bring. The more, and okay, so in so many words, the best way to literally become secure in yourself is to accept all parts of you. Because when you accept every single part of you, and the next person says, I don't like this about you, you're gonna be like, first of all, it don't matter what you like, because I like it and I'm fine with it. But if you don't accept a certain part of yourself, and then someone comes to you and calls you out on that and says, you know, that part of yourself that you don't like, well, I don't like it either, you start to feel insecure. You start to feel small within yourself, because you're like, hey, this part of myself that I'm hiding is being seen right now, and it makes you feel so small within your body. It physically makes you feel shrunken up in your body. That is what insecurity feels like, because you feel like you are not big enough to wear your own body. You are not big enough to fill your own shoes. That's what insecure feels like. If you put on a pair of shoes that's way too big for you, your foot is not secure in that shoe. So let's just say you're feeling like there are parts of you that you do not like. In so many words, those are the parts of you that you feel like you cannot feel. You will then feel like there's too much room, like you're gonna start to feel really small. And that's why so many people have an inflated ego. I noticed that the most loudest people, and there's nothing wrong with being loud and extroverted, but I see through folks. Let me just say that there's a difference between extroverted and secure, and extroverted and insecure. And I noticed that there are a lot of loud people who do so much on the outside to try and hide how small they are feeling on the inside. But all you have to do is accept yourself, the parts of you that you are choosing to not feel, because at the end of the day, it's a choice whether or not you want to accept the parts of you that you hide. You understand? Like the certain thoughts that you think, you might be like me personally, I had a moment where I was like, dang, I can be a little bit toxic to myself. And toxic is toxic, I could say. And it's not like negative toxic, it's like toxic positivity, because I always, like, for somewhere along the line on my healing journey and on my self-love journey, I convinced myself that I had to be love and light and happy and, you know, boisterous all the time. And then I realized, like, whenever I feel upset or sad, it's gotten into a habit where the minute I start to feel sad about something, I instantly be like, no, don't feel sad. You don't need to feel sad. Don't feel sad about that. No, we're not gonna feel sad. We're gonna be happy. And then so I just instantly just shove away my sadness. But I'm human. You should allow yourself to feel whatever emotions you feel, and that is how you accept yourself. You have to accept yourself as you are. Every single part of you that flows through, every single piece of energy that flows through you, because your energy is within your being. You have to understand what I'm saying. From the tips of your hair to the soles of your feet, that is where your energy lies. So any energy that is flowing through you, you must accept that. You cannot feel, you have to accept that and transform it, because when you push it away, it causes resistance. And so in so many words, when you are fighting with the side of yourself that's like, present yourself as love and light, and there's a side of you that's real and raw and vulnerable, and you are ignoring that side of you that's real, raw and vulnerable, and you're only pushing yourself to be a certain way, you create tension. There becomes conflict within the self. You have to understand what I'm saying. And when there's conflict within the self, there's insecurity, because if someone was to see me, well, this is, that's not who I am anymore, because I'm outgrowing that. But let's say if it was like a few months ago and someone was to see me not in my best energy, I would start to feel a little insecure, because I'm like, dang, like I try to present myself as love and light, and here they are seeing me not in my love and light. They're seeing the real side of me, which is a part of me. Like when you just, y'all, the way, like in my most recent video, I was like, if I had like a thought bubble so y'all could see what I'm imagining, then maybe y'all would understand, because I could keep talking trying to explain how it's coming to me in a picture. Like my words and my thoughts come to me as like pictures, and then I try to describe the picture by saying it into words. You understand what I'm saying? So in so many words, when you are only allowing certain parts of you to be seen, and you're telling the other parts of you, go in the closet. I'm talking to people right now. You go in the closet. You don't come out till I tell you to come out. You create tension, because then those parts of you that you are putting in the closet, they're like, hey, I want to come out and play too. You're like, no. And they're like, please. And you're like, no. And you're creating drama within the self, and all you have to do is accept yourself. And when you accept all of you, nobody can tell you nothing about you that you don't already know. You understand what I mean? And when somebody tries to tell you something about yourself, number one, don't even give that person your energy. Like that's another thing. You got to decide who deserves your energy. You got to decide who deserves a response from you. If somebody coming at you with some ignorance and they're like trying to tell you about yourself, just be like, man, I'm not even gonna pay you no mind. Like you can think. One thing about me, and one thing we should all adopt, and I'm so serious, allow people to think whatever they want to think about you without you trying to prove them wrong. Just literally just allow yourself to shine, and then eventually they will see themselves that they were wrong. And a lot of people won't come to you and say, hey, I was wrong about how I perceived you. They won't say, hey, I was wrong for judging you. They won't say, hey, and that's another thing. When folks be judging you, they're just projecting onto you. And when you take in that projection and you internalize it, then you create that inspires a negative thought and a negative perception on how you view yourself. You understand what I'm saying with that? I hope that just made sense. I really do. But it's like, you must not allow yourself to be shaken. You must be like a tree. When people come in with their negativity and try to uproot you and try to get you grounded out of yourself and try to make you feel small within yourself, try to make you feel less than who you really are, all you have to do is remember that they do that to themselves. Any way that somebody is treating you, know that they treat themselves like that. If you've got people who treat you amazing, know that they treat themselves like, well, that's not always the case. Sometimes it's either they want it, like when it's people that treat you great, it's either they treat themselves like that or they want to treat themselves like that, but they don't feel worthy enough to treat themselves like that, so they treat other people great because they don't feel like they deserve to be treated great. And if you are that type of person, I used to be that type of person, and I've also met people who were like that, who wanted to treat people great, who wanted to be treated great, but they didn't feel like they deserved to treat themselves great, so they treated other people great to be like, you know what, this is what I wish I could do for myself. And if you are that person, just be great to yourself, man. You are your own best friend, man. You're only going to spend the rest of your life in this body. You're the only one who's going to be perceiving your energy day in and day out. So allow all parts of you to shine. When you are secure in yourself, no one's opinions of how you should think, feel, act, or how you should live your life can sway you. It cannot change your mind, because you have now become stable. When you ground yourself, when you sink your roots deep in yourself, when you get cozy in your own body and you're like, oh yeah, this is nice. You know what I mean? What was that? What was that move? What? But when you allow yourself to just be cool, like you see how I'm just comfortable just allowing myself to really express myself. And I look back at my older videos and I'm like, you know, I'm becoming more and more expressive, because the only way, and here's another thing, the only way we can learn how to express who we really are is if we sit with ourselves and notice who we really are. And you're not gonna know all there is to know about you in one go. It will happen over time. That's why I say observe yourself, observe your thoughts, observe the way you think, and just let it be. Don't think a thought and then be like, oh no, I shouldn't think that. And don't shame yourself for thinking any kind of thoughts. Don't shame yourself for thinking any kind of way. Just allow it to be, and don't judge it. Don't judge any part of yourself. Even the thoughts that are like, oh, why do they have to blast a car like that? Like, you know, sometimes I be wanting to pop their tires. I'm gonna be real. I'm going to be real here. I do not like loud noises. I feel like it's not even just my hearing sense, it's all of my senses. I don't like bright lights. I also don't like when lights are too dim to where I can't see anything. I don't like loud noises, and it bothers me when things are too quiet. Like when somebody talking to me and they're just whispering, like, why are you whispering? Like, open your mouth. You get what I mean? I don't like certain textures. I don't like certain, obviously, some smells, but like for example, like, I don't know how to describe it. And so when things like overload my senses, like when people are riding by with these loud behind cars, sometimes I'll be like, dang, I wish I could pop their tires. I'm not gonna shame myself or judge myself for thinking that way. That's just how I feel. Does it make it right? No. And so I just allow it to be. I notice it, I observe it, and I just move it along. And then the next thing I know is I realize, after I think that thought and I just let it pass without judging it, I'd be like, you know what? I can't do anything about that. That's outside of me. That has nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do with me from the ends of my hair to the soles of my feet. That has nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do with me at all. And so I leave it alone, and I do not allow myself to be shaken. I know who I am. And as the days go on, and the more and more you just observe yourself and allow yourself to be, there is no perfect person. There is no perfect person who thinks positive thoughts about everything. I'm not gonna see the cars riding by being loud, blasting their music, and be like, oh, they're having a good time. No, sometimes I feel angry about that, because it's like, bro, you're riding through somebody's neighborhood blasting that music. It's a Tuesday. It's like, come on, like, nobody want to hear all that. At least I don't. And that's just how I feel. And that's okay. Like, you don't have to shame yourself for not being how other people say you should be. And especially, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say for real, especially in this day and age where there is so much social media. That's why I've been saying, y'all, if you're new here, I'm gonna let you know what I've been saying. I've been saying y'all got to quit it with the social media. The main thing I use is YouTube. And I don't even watch YouTube shorts like that. I might see one that looks interesting, watch 1, 2, or 3, and then go back to the video I was watching. You get what I mean? But I don't really consume so much YouTube shorts and all that type of stuff, because even in social media, there are people telling you how you should live, even if it's like not direct, even if it's not explicit, it's implicit, meaning it's implied. If it's not verbatim in your face saying, hey, you need to be doing this is how you should be doing this. And like, for example, I seen something that was like, if you're not if you're not cleaning these things in your house every single day, then blah blah blah. You get what I mean? And then it'll make you feel insecure, because it's like, well, I'm not doing that every day. I'm not cleaning you get what I mean? Like, they tell you what to do, they tell you how to live, and it just creates it messes your mind up, because it's like you're doing all these different things. Like, you're trying to live your life in the best way possible. But let me tell you something, and this really for real, the best way to live your life is to live it authentically, whatever that means. If I get upset, if I start to feel upset because there are cars being loud, that's me being authentic. I cannot hide the fact that loud noises upset me. I can't hide that. Like, you're going to see it when I'm talking. I remember it was a few days ago, I was talking with God. I was walking down my neighborhood talking with God, and somebody just honked their horn. I did not expect the horn to be honked, but it was loud and I didn't like it, and I physically felt upset. Like, that was authentic. Like, I could not hide that. I could not, you get what I mean? Like, so you just got to allow yourself to be authentic. We are natural. Just as birds allow themselves to be, they don't hide who they are to their other bird people. You just have to allow yourself to express yourself as you are, and that is the best way to live. Your best life does not consist of you being completely at peace and completely happy and completely just wonderful and positive and happy, and that's a fantasy. You understand what I mean? But your best life is literally just you accepting who you are. Because like I always say, man, when you send out authentic energy into the universe, you attract what is meant for you. You attract authenticity. You attract what's real. You attract what it really is that you are seeking. When you really show the universe who you are, when you allow your energy to be authentic and real, the universe shows you, hey, this is what you really are. This is what you really want. So I'm going to send that back to you because this is what you really want. And it's not about trying to not think negative thoughts. It's just about noticing them and transforming them when you notice them. It's about figuring out why, because this is really the last thing I want to say, because I kind of want to touch in on this in another video. But your shadow self, like the parts of you that need to be healed, will not be wow in your face. It's not gonna be a thought that's like, boom, look at me, you need to heal me. It's gonna be so small. It's going to be so small. Like, let's say you're judging somebody based off how they express their style and how they express themselves, and you feel insecure on how you express yourself, and so you notice somebody expressing themselves fully, and you look at them and you be like, oh, why do they have that on? Look at how they're wearing their hair. Look at how they talk. Look at how they walk. And that's showing how you're insecure. To you, it might just be a small thought, and you don't want to call it what it is because you're judging them. But when you just look at it deeper, you put a microscope on it, right? Because it'll be like so small, but then when you look at it, it's kind of like putting a microscope to it. Not a microscope, a microscope, yeah, like just enlarging what really is there. And you're looking at it like, you know what, I'm saying this, I'm having these types of thoughts because I don't feel comfortable expressing myself. And then boom, you transform that shadow into light. That is how you just, come on, man. But that's all that I have to say about all this that I was talking about here, man. I have so many videos that, like, literally, if I could just pick up my journal, I could literally make a video and I'm just reading my journal, because I'd be on one, man. I'd be on one, and I could just read my journal to y'all, and that would be a video. Like, I'm actually have some notes here, because I'd be on one. Like, when I just be talking with God, I'd be like, oh my gosh, and I just start talking because I know that I'm going to forget it. So in so many words, like, come on, man, like, we're all in this together. There is no best version of you that is completely just happy and positive. The best version of you is your most authentic self. And as long as you just embody your most authentic self, you right then in that moment, you decided you are going to become the best version of you. But that's all that I have for this video. I really do hope y'all enjoy. I want to say thank y'all so much for the love and support on the videos. Y'all already know that I love and support y'all just as y'all love and support me. There will not be a moment where I'm like, man, screw y'all, man, y'all can get up out my face. Like, that's, come on, man, that's messed up. I would never do that. Like, that's actually messed up that I just, come on, man, I would never do that, for real, man. I love y'all so much. Thank y'all for everybody who is joining the community as well. Like, I really appreciate y'all from the bottom of my heart, man. Y'all mean so much to me. Y'all mean so much to this world. Never forget that you are loved, that you are blessed to be here. The present moment is the gift. The present moment is where your power lies. The present moment is where your future unfolds. That's all that I have for this video, for real, and I'll see y'all in my next video. So until next time, bye, friends.